They've been drinking Kool-Aid around the country at old spring game.
Oh, yeah.
I got to tell you, everybody looks great.
Of course.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, that's right.
The younger guys are really progressed. The weight room, everyone's looking good out of the weight room. The transfers.
Faster, stronger.
Dan.
Yeah.
More unified.
I think it's a new attitude. If you got a returning QB, he's deeper in the playbook, the terminology, but if you got a transfer, that's okay. And they only came because they really loved your program, not because of NIL. That's bad. The transfers that left were bad. The ones that came were good.
Yeah, they're all bought into the culture.
Bought into the culture. Everybody's looking good. So that's exciting out there. It's going to be a great season. But, there are some questions at quarterbacks around the country. Those are the easiest ones for us to identify. And the interesting one here, and I don't know whether we'll discuss why this is, but Ohio State, they had their spring game, and Ryan Day and Chip Kelly. Chip Kelly's the offense coordinator, remember now. They have 2 head coaches over there at Ohio State. Well, I wouldn't say that. Chip's just former head coach. Not ready to name a starter. Okay, Kansas State's Will Howard, of course, is the big guy they brought in, to replace Kyle McCord, who in a recent podcast, a Syracuse podcast, basically said that they had a change of plans and pretty much tossed him out, which is why he hit the transfer portal, which we suspected, but was kind of interesting. Anyway, Will Howard is battling Devin Brown, the junior that McCord beat out the year before, and 5-star freshman Julian Sayin, who Ohio State picked up on a late flip from Alabama when Nick Saban retired, and before Kalen DeBoer got there, if you recall that little recap. There is also sophomore Lincoln Kindholz, and then there's other freshman Air Noland. They all got snaps, but the focus seemed to be on Howard. 9 of 13 for 77 yards. Nothing more important in football than spring game stats.
That's right.
9 of 13, 77 yards. Heisman. Devin Brown, though, tossed the only touchdown pass. Sayin had 85 yards, but he threw a pick 6. So is it going to be Will Howard and we're just not saying so no one hits the transfer portal? Or is this a real battle, Pat?
I don't know. I don't know whether any of us knows, but I would, if I were a head coach and or the offensive coordinator, I would, in almost every circumstance, say there's still a battle going into August so that you theoretically keep the battlers, the combatants on your roster as long as you can. If you name somebody, whoever doesn't get named could very well be looking at the portal or could be being inquired upon by other people. As a matter of fact, I had a coach text me today with this. Portal opens tomorrow. That makes tonight SEC put in your bids night. So there is a suspicion, at least in some places, that that right now before the portal opens, people are starting to open up the NIL collective pocketbook and start figuring out where they want to dole out money here. So if you have a chance, I think without alienating anybody by saying, yeah, that's still a competition and keeping your quarterbacks in the mix, the longer you can, the better.
Yeah, I know. Gasp. You mean to tell me there's a bidding war going on for transfers? Look, we've seen coaches handle this so differently the last 3 years, the era of NIL. I remember it was either last spring or the year before where Dave Aranda made a starting quarterback change and announced his starting quarterback at the end of spring practice, allowing the other quarterback to enter the portal and leave. I think he said publicly, he kind of purposely did that. Not all coaches are created equal. So I wouldn't expect a whole lot of them to take the same path that Dave Aranda did at Baylor with that situation. I think you'll see more of them take this path right? Where you don't announce a starter and you wait, and maybe it's not some kind of ploy to keep quarterbacks out of the portal. Maybe it truly is a tight battle, and you want to see what happens over summer workouts. You want to see how the quarterbacks lead the team, and then you want to see fall camp. Heck, I mean, we know last year, right? Quarterback battles went into the season, and some coaches treated their early season non-conference schedule as like a NFL preseason. We saw Lane Kiffin do that, and obviously Jim Harbaugh did that a couple of years ago. I mean, it's really kind of fascinating how everybody's going to handle this thing. But I think you'll see probably more coaches handle it, maybe like Ryan Day is, where you don't name a starter before summer arrives.
Remember Michigan, they did the 2 years ago. So Cade McNamara leads them to the playoff and the big victory over Ohio State. The first one in 2021. And then the following year, they started both J.J. McCarthy and Cade McNamara. Harbaugh wouldn't make a decision until 4 games in. Was that right? They had one of those easy schedules, and then he made it. And then, of course, McNamara transfers to Iowa, and JJ takes over. But so yeah, you don't know. I mean, obviously, look, if I'm sitting on 4 or 5 really good quarterbacks, I want them all. I don't know what the obligation is on that. I do want to play a quick game. Ross, you and I can obviously play it because Pat would already know the answer. Was Pat's source bitter Big Ten or angry ACC coach? Which one? Because apparently only the SEC
bids on quarterbacks.
Only the SEC is putting bids in early. Bids. We know not in the pristine rule following Big Ten and ACC. Which one was it? Ross, you'd make a guess. I'm gonna guess. Pat, you can tell us can you tell us the conference without divulging this source? These leagues have like 40 teams in them now, so
I'm not here to help you narrow things down.
I would go with the ACC. They seem like they've been a little jaded lately.
Yeah, I think they might sue. Send us file a lawsuit. I'll go ACC also. Pat, are we right?
No, you're wrong.
Oh, bitter Big Ten. Bitter.
I'm not saying nothing.
Oh, you're not saying it's Big Ten. It's Big Ten. It's Big Ten. That's what he's saying.
A lot of conferences out there. Even though there's one fewer going on.
Not Pac-12? Oh, wait. Yeah.
Fewer than there were. Fewer than there were. Not a lot of conferences anymore. There's some. I will say this, reading up on the Ohio State game, I don't know that anyone's happier in life right now than Chip Kelly seems to be. Chip Kelly's just like, this is great. I don't want to be a head coach anymore. Yeah. This is just, he's loving it. He's coaching football. He's letting Ryan handle. Ryan's got to deal with all the crap. Chip's just coaching ball. And he's got quarterbacks after quarterbacks to work with.
Yeah, he's just drawing up ball plays with a flush hand of talent and not having to try to work that hard to keep players on the roster or decide which players from other rosters you want or any of that.
I mean, we're thinking it's going to be Will Howard, right?
I mean, I would think so.
I mean, he had suitors coming out of. I'm guessing he had plenty of suitors coming out of Kansas State that he could have gone to, and I don't know why he would have left there had he not, wink, wink, right, been and kind of promised the starting job. I mean, that's something that coaches like hate to do and certainly don't reveal publicly. But yeah, that would be shocking. I feel like if he wasn't the starting quarterback at Ohio State. But it's happened in the past. Who was it? Was it last year? Ole Miss got blanking on his name.
They brought in 3 of them: Spencer Sanders and
Spencer Sanders from Oklahoma State is the one I'm thinking of.
No, not
Jackson Dart ended up winning it, but then the other guy from LSU. What? Oh, shoot.
Will Howard.
No, Walker Howard.
No. Walker Howard. I mean,
Walker
Howard.
Yeah.
But I mean, Spencer Sanders. I thought he left a pretty good situation. I thought at Oklahoma State, and so he didn't start. So maybe who knows? I mean, that was a little different situation with Jackson Dart, I guess there, but. Yeah, I would think that he's a pretty big favorite. Will Howard is to win that job.
Well,
I would think so too, but the thing, a couple things there is one, maybe like if Devin Brown's like really number 2, then I would say he's absolutely going to be the starter because Devin Brown couldn't beat out Kyle McCord, and they allegedly ran off Kyle McCord. We'll see about the freshman. That's another interesting dynamic. But the other thing too, Chip's a little bit of a contrarian. He's the kind of guy that gets in there and says, "Oh, well, all the hype says it's supposed to be this guy. Well, what about that guy?" I'm not sure he'd make a decision purely based on contrarianness, but he might want to hold open a competition longer because of it.
Chip likes a running quarterback, and Will Howard can do that some. Although he's
big, but he can run.
He can run. He was 78 carries last year, 3 touchdowns. He had an 80-yarder. No, that was actually 2020. I'm sorry, 70-yarder. 70-yarder. He had 351 yards and 9 touchdowns. My bad. Looking at these stats wrong. Passed for 61.3% completion last year. It's the first time he got over 60. That's the one thing about Will Howard not share. 24 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. However, the receiving core he will be working with is a considerable difference. Yes, slightly better than the one at Everyman a Wildcat. So no offense to K-State. So we will see. But he gave 4 years to Kansas State and made the jump. And I agree. I don't think he went for no reason.